Okay, so when I watched the Carnegie videos, I really thought that it benefited learning about teachers' instruction and classroom environment because you got to see a number of different types of teaching instantaneously. So I could watch a constructivist teacher, you know, for 5 minutes, make some observations, learn some things about instruction in their classroom environment, and make notes, and then I could move on to a different teacher and watch their lesson.
You can rest your folders in front of you. They're not going to run away. There is no need to put a hand on them. If you are not sure how it is that we sit on the rug, you can look at Jeffrey, or you can look at Diane or Nanette, or you could look at Kira or Anton or Hunter or Eric.
Them very helpful for me because I could look, record, and then if I had a question, I could go in, ask my teacher, I'm getting this from it, and they might bounce back a few more questions, and then I could go back and re-look.
Okay. Clear your desk of all but something to write with. Ooh, those are bad words, aren't they? Oh, look at him. Look at, oh my God. Because when a teacher says clear your desk of all but something to write with, what's going to happen? No, not at all. Not at all. We're going to do a lesson, okay?
Another way to look at it. And I did like going back and did multiple times to see if what I thought the first time is how I felt after 3 times when I knew a little bit more about what I was looking for.
All right, now, turn the paper over, but go like this. Fold it in half, and just look at the side that starts with this word that begins with F. Okay, just look at that. And if you recognize this, don't say a word. Okay, I don't want you to say a word if you know what this is. Okay. All right. Before we do anything, how many people think they know what this is? Wise guys. Okay. How many people know what language it is? How many people think? All right. Before we do anything, on the top of the paper, the first thing that comes to your mind, what language you think it is. Nobody's going to like yell at you if you're wrong. Just what language you think it is. Write it. Write it. We're not talking yet because what's going to happen is people are going to get it at different moments, and I want to let everybody sort of get it on their own. Okay? So what language do you think?
We had the option of going into different classrooms and seeing how different teachers, their different styles, and the first thing that I remember is my strong feelings towards watching other teachers. There were things that I would see them do that I'm just like, oh, I would never do that, that's terrible. And there's other things that they would do that I was like, that's genius, like, oh, that works so well.
And boys and girls, today for Reader's Workshop, we are going to begin another Tommy DePaula story. And this one we've heard before, but we know that good readers go back and they reread. And this one is called Strega No Nut. And part of the reason why I'm reading you another Tommy DePaula book today is because we are going to be making text-to-text connections again. Who can raise their hand and tell me what a text-to-text connection is? Drake.
A text-to-text connection is when you have a book and you connect it to another book.
Yeah. Something in one book reminds you of something that happened.
Oh, I also really
book.
liked that it was a camera rather than someone sitting there and taking notes, because there's something about like being in a classroom, the kids are super aware of someone else being there and like jotting down the whole time, whereas they probably I'm sure the camera was somewhat of a nuisance at first, but at some point the kids probably get used to it and forget that it's there.
We have before us
35 minutes will take a little bit.
Oh. Remember the screen, and it actually takes longer if I don't have people's attention. If you're fiddling with something, you need to put it down. You need to look up at the board so that you see the directions and hear the directions both. We have 3 pieces of computer work this morning. You may choose the order in which you do them. You need to check your email and send at least one email message. Damien, what was that direction? Oh! Shaquille, help him out. What was that first
check
Direction?
check your email and at least write one letter to somebody.
Thank you, Shaquille. Damien, what was that direction?
Check your email. Right. One thing. Stop being
Kiara, what's that first direction?
check email, write and send at least one email.
Thumbs up if you know the first direction and are ready to tell it to me. I should see every single thumb. Oh, Demetrius, you have a question? Do you know what it is?
Nope.
What's the first direction?
Nope.
Choose somebody with their thumb up to tell you what the first direction is. Quick pick.
The Carnegie experience was a very interesting learning experience for me as a pre-service teacher and as just a person in general. I really enjoyed the fact that while watching them, I could stop and say, that is a great idea. I didn't have to write it down really fast and be like, okay, I don't know what she said, but I'm going to go with this.
What am I going to say? When I talk about my color choices, what am I going to say? When I talk about my dimension choices, like how did I choose to place those blocks down this way and this way, and why I chose to put, these here instead of all my 5 blocks lined up together, that kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
And then these 4 topics. They're all on that grade sheet I gave you guys. Okay, so get a piece of scratch paper.
Using videos to learn about teaching really helped me a lot because I could stop the video, take
That's
note.
the important thing in here, that those two teams don't play each other. So that, okay.
Okay, so what did they say? What was that person doing in the background? And in real life, they just keep going, and you might not remember what your question was 15 minutes ago when you have a break and you're able to ask.
Finish with what your group thought was, Russell.
If they win, they have to win at least 4 games to have a chance of winning, because since they're 3 games behind, then they have to win 4 to go back in the league if the good guys lose all their games.
Okay, so where is there a balance point there somewhere? So what were you saying? If the good guys win 5,
I could stop it, pause it, rewind it. I could watch it 10 times. I could watch it 1 time. I watched it for me. Yes, it was an activity. It was an assignment. But what I got out of it, I can't write it down. It was for me. I learned.
Okay, is there anybody that's lost on that? Again, another thing that's really important for success in IMP3 is no matter how hard it is to raise your hand and say, I'm not following. In IMP3, this is a really important college prep skill. You have to say, I don't get it. You have to be really brave. We're going to be doing lots of things, and it's going to depend on all of us together to work out these problems. But if anybody just sits there going, I'm dumb, I can't figure this out, I'm never going to be able to pull anybody out of the hole, and nobody's going to be able to help.
Some of the teachers I watched had all black students in their class, some had mixed, some had all white students, some were poor, some were rich, but it was all just the teaching, which is what is my passion. I honestly don't think without that activity I would have realized some of the things I've realized about education. How it depends on the teacher for those students. As a teacher, it is my job to make learning fun and exciting. It doesn't matter what's happening outside the classroom. When they walk into my room, it's safe and inviting, and there's a learning environment for them and for me, because I can learn from my students as much as they can learn from me.